My focus this week has been preparing for spring in the gardens, particularly my produce garden and my flower beds. So we haven't even lived on our homestead yet a year, and I have a long ways to go before I am ready to plant in springtime and to have the beautiful spring weather. So stick around to see what I am doing right now in these cold fall months to get ready for springtime.
Well, welcome. Most of the leaves are off the trees now, and it is officially beginning to feel like winter. And winter is a wonderful opportunity to rest, but we're also given beautiful days like today that we can use to get ready for spring. So what I'm working on right now is finishing our garden fence. So for us, we have a lot of deer and other animals that run through our pastures. We live right by the woods, so we need to fence the animals out. Also, our chickens are free range, so instead of fencing our chickens in, we have to fence them out. So I've made this really tall 8-foot fence with these really small holes that most things like bunny rabbits and chickens and deer will not be able to get through. So we have a 40 by 60 foot garden fence here that we're so excited to fill up with raised garden beds and plants come springtime. What I have to focus on in the coming 4 months is getting it ready. So that means finishing the fence. Right now it's only barely held up with these little wires. I need to finish wiring it, and then I also need to build the raised garden beds. So that is what I'm really focusing on before spring, and that's what Miri and I are working on today. You can see this is pretty bright wire. What this actually is electric wire that we didn't need, that were like little small scrap pieces from building the house. There's always a balance between functionality and not being wasteful and looking good. You know, I think these probably aren't the most beautiful wires, but otherwise, if we didn't use them, they would just go to waste. So it's a wonderful way to save a little money and be a little bit more sustainable. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to shorten these wires. I'm going to tighten them up really good, make these panels stand up nice and straight, and then wire them. I need to wire at least 4 times per post because these are really tall posts and wires. I already, my dad and I worked on driving the posts for this fence a few months ago now. We have, let me take you on a tour. Right. So again, this is our 40 by 60 foot space. We have a post every 10 feet. So that means, and these panels themselves are 20 feet. So we have a post connecting the panels and then one in the middle. For our outer 4 corners, we did use these big steel posts that we drove with the tractor. And that's just going to make it extra solid, extra sturdy. Our intention is to create a little doorway. So we're going to cut the panel about 3 to 5 feet over and then have a little doorway that we're going to make. We also plan on making it a little more aesthetically pleasing by putting some wood around the top and on the corners just to make it look a little nicer. But for now, I'm mostly worried about functionality. I want it to keep our produce secure. So that is really the biggest thing I am worried about, is just, is it going to keep animals out of my garden? And that's what we're going to focus on until we just have some more time. It's making it pretty isn't the most important project. I'm going to start where these panels actually come together. So I'm going to see how much I can get done right now with Miriam on me. It's a lot harder to bend over. She doesn't like it as much. I'm really thrilled the boba wrap is still working. I got this back out because it is really nice and cool these days, and so it works nice to have her in this. It keeps her nice and warm and snuggled up to me. I hadn't used it all summer because I was worried about her being too warm, but it's perfect now that it's winter time, except she gets tired of it, and I do too after a while. It takes a little bit more work. Anyway, we're gonna get started wiring these. I'm gonna just keep wiring up this fence. I don't think it's that interesting to watch, so I will catch you later on the next project. We are going to dig up some irises today. Mirabug, me, and her Grammy, and gonna thin them and plant some at my house. So that is what we're gonna work on. And the baby fell off her mat. Are we just digging the ones on the outer edges?
I mean, they all need to be dug up, but I don't know if we'll get them all done or not.
But that's what you're, so I'm moving the rock.
Yeah, I was just gonna start on the outer and.
It does, will it help them do better here if you dig them up and replant them?
Yeah, see like that? This needs to be like in 3, so.
Katie and I quickly dug up and broke apart a bunch of her irises. Once we got the majority of them dug up, then we went ahead and started fixing the border again and replanting hers.
Oh my goodness, this one has a lot of different potential sections. All right, we have a bunch of irises that we dug up to now plant here. I'm gonna put them pretty close to the edge of this circle so you can see we have our circle drive. What we're gonna end up doing is putting rocks around the outside edges and making a big garden bed for me. But for now, I'm just gonna plant the irises probably right about here because I want them really close to the edge since they're gonna be shorter. So I might do a little strip here along the edge. Oh, I was hoping it would not be that hard. Try this instead. Oh, yeah. Oh, I like that a lot better. I'm gonna start with these really big ones. So I'm sure you'll hear so many garden channels and people say that you want the shorter things on the outside. So that's why I'm planting the irises here on the outside. I mean, they'll get decently tall, but I think I'll have a lot more bushes on the inside of this. I like bushes a lot more than a lot of other types of plants, so that's what we're doing. We're just putting the irises right here on this outside edge, showing my husband exactly how much of the lane I am stealing for my garden. You know, it's a lot of work. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And this is, you know, it's a lot. This has been work. But when I envision how beautiful this garden bed will look, it makes it a whole lot easier. And there's a lot to enjoy in this work, you know, in this moment. Like it's not that much different than me as a kid playing in the dirt, so it helps that I've always loved being outside and messing around with plants and doing little tasks like this. And you know, so I'd say this is just rambling, but if I'd say, you know, what would keep me motivated to do this hard work of making a flower bed is 2 parts. One, it's something I actually really do enjoy doing. I love playing in the dirt. I love I love messing with nature and plants. And 2 is I have a vision in my head of what this place will look like in a few years, and I am just so excited to make that vision come to fruition. I guess I would just want you to think about that vision that you have, really hold it in your mind, and then go for it. You know, you can do hard things, and once you get started, they don't feel near as hard. Something is so satisfying about getting a job done. Anyway. Right, we are starting on day 2 of planting these irises. You saw we dug them all up yesterday, and we're gonna finish them today. So day 2, even if I'm wearing the same pants. Not that you probably would have noticed. All right. James Awaken is joining me to play in the leaves. Decided it's easier to put in multiple at a time so that their roots can slightly overlap. I have way too many irises, and I need to start sowing them a little bit thicker. A little thicker, because I want to get these planted. I think I'm gonna come out like maybe 2 more rows, and that might be it. One thing about having plants and animals, Kato, go on. Please go. It's got to not be attached to how much they get tore up, because with like dogs and stuff, it's just impossible not to. Kato, Collie, get away from me. Guys, just go. My goodness. Oh, bless your hearts. Go on. Go. Out. Really hard to get things done with Miriam. Like, I just had to take a few hour break to be inside with her, and I just got her outside. Now, it can be hard, but I'm also so thankful for this opportunity to help model to my daughter what it looks like to have goals and dreams and visions and get them done. So she gets to watch me, you know, working towards the goal. And she wants sticks in the process. We'll get a little nature. Are you happy, Mia Bug? Yeah. And maybe I can convince her that it's actually fun, and so in a few years, actually it isn't not fun. So maybe she could see that there's a lot of reward to it, and she could be Mama's little helper. Yeah, instead of Mama's little entertainer only. She's still helping me take breaks. One of the harder parts about working with a baby is they get tired of sitting in one location for too long. So we are gonna take a break and go get a watering can and water the other plants so the dogs won't mess with them as badly, and give her something else to do besides eating dirt. It is a gross rainy day, but I made the mistake of making the goal today to get 2 more rows of my irises planted. And my biggest commitment to myself recently is to get my 4 big tasks that I prioritize done a day, which means I need to be smarter sometimes about what I actually want to get done in a day, and so I'm not stuck planting irises in the drizzling rain. Though we do have a clear spot right now, so I better get to work on this. We're gonna work enough so that I don't get cold. I probably could have more clothes on, but you know how they say dress for the job you want, not the job you have? Well, I'm taking it a little further and saying dress for the weather I want and not the weather that I've been given.
Anyway, as soon as I get to work on digging, I will no longer be cold. So without further ado, I'm gonna get to it. All right, there is my iris bed. It'll be a lot thicker. Some of the holes you see are because I planted just the root. Only some of them still had the greenery on top, like some of them were just little nodes that I planted. So come springtime, I bet you I'm going to have a very thick patch of irises here. Final things I am going to work on today, maybe even this week in terms of the outside preparation for spring, is I'm gonna plant some tulip bulbs. I got these are the Queen of the Night. They're purple tulips. I'm gonna plant them pretty close to my irises because they're purple. I know that juxtaposition, like having juxtapositions of colors are nice, but I kind of like having similar colors together fading to different colors, or that's what I'm thinking. Luckily, bulb plants, they're so easy to transplant and move around if I end up not liking them in a few years. For now, I just think I want to slowly develop this whole area, so I just kind of want to start from what's already planted and just keep going. So I'm gonna plant my Queen of the Night tulips here, and then I will call it a day for planting. I am seriously so sore. Like every time I strike this into the ground, my body is crying. But again, I put it as a goal. Gotta do it. And I've gotten those tulip bulbs just a little bit wet because it's wet and rainy out here, and I've been handling them with my gloves. So gotta plant them all. Once I get them all planted, then I will be done for outside work. All right, so we've gotten most of the grass off of it and some of the big rocks. Next step is I'm gonna build a trench to plant these tulips. We're gonna plant them every 4 inches, which I know is a little thicker, but 4 to 5 inches. And then I'm gonna plant them about 6 to 7 inches deep. So this is officially the space we have cultivated with my bulb flowers. I have so much more to do, as you can tell, but you can only get things done one small section at a time. So I'm really proud to have a good beginning, and I will just keep working on it. If you're interested in having an idea what all you can do in just a few months in the fall, check out my homestead tour video from September, and you can see kind of the difference between that video and what our homestead looks like this week.